everyone, and welcome. This is one of our series of commercial partner interviews that we're doing with Century 21, the hacking home team at Century 21 Advanced Realty. And I'd like to welcome today Lori Siwak, a mortgage specialist with RBC. And welcome.
Thanks,
Tell
George.
us a little bit about yourself, Lori.
Well, thanks for having me, George. It's a pleasure being here. I've been stuck at home for the last while here during COVID, so it's great to be here socially distanced. So I've been with Royal Bank for about over 22 years now, and in this role about 5 years. Live in Stonewall right now, and have lived in St. Andrews and a Manitoba girl, so I'm very familiar with the area and lots of the different homes.
Fantastic. So you've been at this 22 years. What got you into the mortgage field?
Well, with being in banking for 22 years, you have a lot of hats to wear, and the mortgage role was always something I was interested in, and I felt that there were some folks that weren't getting all the advice they needed for their home purchase and feeling overwhelmed, so I wanted to make sure that I was a part of helping them find that home and make sure they're giving the advice. And yeah, it's just something I've always enjoyed. Who doesn't want to say welcome to your home and congratulations on your purchase?
Yeah, that's a fantastic feeling, and we know that one very well too. So what do you think your most memorable experience is?
So it was probably one of the first clients I had in this role. It took me about 2 years to get this person approved, and she had some hurdles to come over, and we worked together and we got her approved. It took 2 years, but honestly, it's probably the mortgage that will always stick in my mind, and she was so grateful, and she was so amazing to work with. So
yeah, I know what you mean. Like we've done some people, who have been 2 years finding a house, and because there's specific needs usually and things like that, but you find that those are the people who remember, and they remember you, and you get a lot of referrals and recommendations from people who you help like that.
yeah,
That's a definite.
No, for sure. She was great to work with.
And I think about, like we've had in our business, we get a lot of strange requests sometimes. Like, everyone wants a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom with a triple garage on the creek for $300,000 or something like that, but which is a little unreasonable. But what have you found? Have you had some interesting clients over the years?
I've had some interesting clients, but nothing that really sticks out where it's like, oh my goodness. I think probably it's not the best scenario, but my client was supposed to take possession, and it was out east, and they ended up losing the house on day of possession without even knowing. But I think the biggest part of this role has been just learning to trust all my partners and colleagues, and everyone has a hat, and we all gotta kind of run with that, but nothing too crazy. And leave the craziness to my realtor friends that have great stories that share with me. So yeah.
Yes, yeah. We'll leave those for another day. What about what are some of the favorite things you have in your neighborhood and the areas that you work in?
So like favorite things to do. Well, my daughter keeps me very busy outside of work, so she is very busy with sports. So she does a lot of competitive ball and hockey. Other than that, it's a lot of work. And then I try and get out to all of our beautiful lakes, and it's just, Manitoba is so beautiful. I think we all need to take our time to take a look at things in our own province. And sometimes, we might do a Disney trip and figure what we can get in there. So
eventually,
yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Like Manitoba's a fantastic socially distant province to visit because there's so much, 100,000 lakes, and so it's like 10 people per lake, really, something like that. Right?
Something like that.
And then and yeah, your daughter, her experience with baseball. I know she's a pitcher. She's a young girl, but she can whip it.
Oh, she can. She keeps me on my toes. I can't catch for her much longer. I get a lot of bruises, so I leave that up to my husband. So she's too fast for me these days.
Yeah, no kidding. And so how's she adjusting to the COVID?
So she still has school right now, so she's going to school each day, which is great. The Manitoba schools are doing a fabulous job. The teachers are making our students feel very safe. But we have that baseball net set up in our garage so she can do some pitching practice in there. And we got home gym, so she's been working out. So my husband is wanting her to strengthen up for her hockey and baseball, so she's not missing a beat. So. Well,
that's good. Yeah, I know parenting's hard, but like we're lucky in a sense that our kids are sort of grown up, except that it's a little lonely around the house to say just two of us. But that's it again for another video, I'm sure. So I know you work in all these areas, Selkirk and Stonewall and even Winnipeg, and you get around to all the areas. What are some of the places you like to go, like restaurants and places like that?
So, well, there's lots of different restaurants that I like to go to. Haven't been to many of them. I miss them so much. I can't wait till we're back to some kind of new normal. But I have to say, Cravings is one of my favorites in Stonewall for a good burger. And then there's the Mighty Kiwi when I'm feeling I want to be healthy and have some good food choices. They're so amazing for food there. Roxy's in town. Never go wrong with Boston Pizza, The Rock. There's so many different ones that I can't wait to go back to visit in person and be able to.
Yes, they're all feeling it, and I can say like they've really adjusted well to the situation, and I hope we're all supporting our restaurants and whoever we can support. I know I'm getting pretty shaggy here. I was very disappointed to hear I couldn't go see my hairdresser anytime soon. So hopefully my wife's going to get the COVID clippers out and give me a little trim. So we're at home. I mean, you can't work 24 hours a day. So what are the other things you do while you're stuck in your little bubble?
Well, doing a few different cooking things. My daughter had me binge watch Friends the other day. So she's 12 and so she's discovered Friends. So I haven't watched Friends in forever. So that's what we did just one Sunday, and she's on her second loop of watching the whole series. So just doing a lot of more things with my daughter, and yeah, I'm already almost done my Christmas shopping. And she's wrapped it for me, so those types of things, keeping me busy for sure. So.
Okay. Well, back to the business. What are some of your challenges that you're facing there?
So challenges with working from home, I find that I'm probably working longer hours because I'm there. I'm at my office all the time. So I guess that's one thing I have to start disciplining myself, maybe cutting myself off at a certain time. But, I'm there for my clients. I want to make sure that they're buying a home, that I'm there to help them because that's something that they've trusted me with. So that's keeping me busy at home. And I just, it's...
Well, yeah, I agree. We are in the customer service business, and there's no doubt. I know I've had to call you at odd hours, and I've been very pleased to get responses, in off times, and also with unusual requests sometimes for clients. And we need this yesterday, and in our market we've found quite a few competitive offer situations, and then where you're at with your financing before you go into a deal makes a huge difference on whether you're going to get that house that you've been hoping to get.
100%. Having that pre-approval. Like we were just working with a client and I walked in and I gave you that pre-approval letter from a distance, and those folks were pre-approved ahead of time, and we beat that finance condition. So a lot of times it's myself educating the client to let them know the things that we need to do ahead of time, so that when you go to put in that offer, that we're not going to be looking for extending financing or looking for documents at the 11th hour. We want to make sure it's a positive experience, and even getting in once we have the pre-approval, getting them to see you and
setting up with a realistic goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that's a big part of it. And even if you're not in the market right now necessarily for a home, there's things you can do with consultation of a mortgage broker around, say, getting your credit, checking your credit, and taking the right steps with your financial plan to afford a house and to move towards your first home.
Right, yeah, it's super important. Like I was saying, that lady for 2 years, she had to do some fine tuning with, her debt and her employment status and just cleaning up a few things. So it can, increase the chances of getting into a home sooner when we start working together that much faster, so we can, target the things that need to be targeted so that we can make home ownership a lot faster and attainable. And it's not something that clients need to be scared of. I want to make sure it's a comfort thing. It's, I'm only as good as my clients, and if they're not comfortable with the application process, I want to make sure that I'm helping them through that.
Okay, and what do you find is the biggest challenge for, say, new home buyers or first-time home buyers?
A lot of times they're just scared. So it's just a matter of making sure you're telling them all the different things that they need to worry about. The 5% down, the closing costs, the land transfer, those types of things, and just making sure that they have that saved. And sometimes it's they're getting a gift from their parents and they think they can't do it right away. We just need to make sure we're explaining things to them so that they understand the ins and outs and how we can maybe get things done faster, simpler, and easier.
Exactly. Yeah, I know I've had experience where say somebody bought a truck in between the time that they've got approval or something like that, and it's caused them issues.
Yeah, so those are one of the things we definitely stress on. If there's something on the table that you're thinking of buying between now and later, you buy it later. You make sure you have that budget for it, because if you buy a truck, that could jeopardize your pre-approval. So you're 100% right there, George. It
Yeah.
definitely has impact.
Yeah, there's been some changes in the whole process, say over the last few years, around the stress test for the mortgages too. So you're facing a little more advanced challenges than say somebody 3 years ago who with 5% down, they were only required to say have a certain percentage of they could survive, I guess, an interest rate of 3%. Now it's 5%.
It's just under 5%.
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
yeah, it's our 5-year posted rate. So yeah, we're seeing some challenges, but honestly, it's putting our clients in a better position with doing that 5-year posted rate, because if something happens and interest rates rise, we don't want to be looking at a situation where the clients are struggling to make that payment in 5 years if interest rates were to rise. So
I completely agree on that. I mean, it's really been a function of Toronto and Vancouver driving the housing market into our smaller markets like Winnipeg and Selkirk and Stonewall. But at the same time, being secure financially and making sure you're within those guidelines is really a sensible place to be.
It is. We don't want our clients to be house poor and not be able to do anything, because then they're going to end up not liking us so much at the end of the day. So I think it's put all of us in a much better position to make sure we're giving the right advice to our clients.
Okay, well, I don't want to beat this up for too long, so I do really want to thank you, Lori, for coming and sitting in with us, and I know that we at the Hacking Home team can heartfelt recommendation to Lori if you're looking for a new home, or if you're looking for financing on a new home construction, or your first time home buyer, or you just want to find out where you stand in the ability to make a purchase, even if it's not for a year or two. Lori's a great contact, and we'll be sharing that contact on our site.